Now you know.
Several White House staffers were asked to resign, were suspended, or working remotely after revealing past marijuana use during their background checks. Sources familiar with the situation tell CNN. 5 people are no longer employed at the White House, while additional staffers are working remotely. In many of the cases involving staffers who are no longer employed, additional security factors were in play, including for some hard drug use, the official said. While marijuana use is legal in many states, it is still illegal on the federal level, which can present a hurdle in the federal security clearance process. So is this fair? Is this not fair? Now, I do understand it says a couple hundred people that could have possibly been dealing with marijuana. Only 5 people got let go. But at the end of the day, I don't know if this has to be such a major issue. And when I think if you're hiring someone based on their skill level, I don't know if that background or something they did years ago should affect it.
Well, I think also I was kind of looking at a little bit of the reaction here, right? And so then I'm looking at the facts and looking at what happened here. And so a lot of people are upset because on the background checks, they were told to volunteer, to tell us this information. It will not harm you.
Yes.
Be honest about this. And so now once they get the job, it is harming them. So that's when I think people, you know, could have chosen to not take a job that they were going to then be fired from or transfer from, move from. Like, hey, you know, like if there's something on an application and you bow out.
It's not gonna work
you know
for
what I
you.
mean?
Yeah.
Right. And so there's that. And then also there's the fact that, you know, we don't know specifics about who yet and where, but it is very possible that some of these people could have been admitting to legally smoking marijuana in a state where marijuana is recreationally legal. So it's the idea of, you know, getting fired because your boss doesn't like something, but that is legal.
That's true. Brooke, that's exactly what I was thinking.
It's not federally legal, so I get that, but I'm sorry, Demi.
No, I was thinking the same thing about how they told them, hey, you know, if you smoke weed, it's no problem. You know, come and join. You're still going to be okay. And then you get fired. I mean, of course, I was going to, you know, bring up that same point. But you can't, like you said, you can't argue with the law. And I'm also with Romeo that I feel like, I mean, a little bit of weed back in the day, like, how was that going to hurt you? But also, you know, I was curious to know what prompted this. For me, you know, I'm always on my conspiracy theory tip. I just can't see that all of a sudden they just said, you know what, let's just do a random background check and see who used to smoke weed and do drugs back in the day. I also feel like there's something else that went down that we don't know. And this is just my, intensified journalism that I'm peeling back the layers here. But I feel like something happened that make them say, hey, we need to go and see if anybody, anybody on our team used to do this so we can get rid of them. And, you know, I just feel like there's just something else.
Trying to prevent a storm that could be coming.
This is happening right now.
Yeah, I think
because this would have been part of the background check a long time ago. And Joe Biden has not been like some massive leftist proponent of marijuana legalization. So no, that's an interesting point. Like, why now?
Exactly. Yep, that's what I'm
interesting.
thinking. I think we'll find out. Yeah, Brooke, I think we were saying the same thing.
Because it's interesting. There are a lot of businesses who still say drug-free, regardless of what's happening in the city, drug-free. But so the confusion is just tell us it won't hurt you, and then no, drug-free. And it's like, well, wait a minute. That's interesting. So I want to see, I just want to continue to follow how people are reacting to this and what happens. And Jimmy, like you said, what we find out in the future. Hennepin County Judge Peter Cahill says he will not delay or move the trial of former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin. You'll remember, Chauvin is charged with murder and manslaughter in George Floyd's death. The defense requested a delay or move over concerns that the jury pool could be tainted by the public announcement of the $27 million civil settlement. Although the judge shut that down, he did partially grant another defense motion. Judge Cahill says he'll allow limited evidence from a 2019 incident in which George Floyd was arrested. These details in from the Associated Press. Now, we've also learned a 13th juror was seated earlier today. It's a woman who says she has only seen clips of the video of Floyd's arrest and needs to learn more about what happened beforehand. As for the previous arrest, the judge agrees with the defense that there are several similarities between the two encounters, including that Floyd swallowed drugs after police confronted him. Opening statements will be March 29th if the jury is complete by then. That process is pretty much on track to finish nearly a week early. So first, let's talk about the jury. 13 jurors right now. They need a 14th juror. Basically, 12 jurors are already seated.
Okay. The
final 2 are alternates. So we're looking for one more alternate right now in case, anything happens. And we've already seen things happen before jury selection is over. And let's go to these motions. Obviously, no delay, no stopping the trial, no moving the trial, no delaying the trial. But this arrest, and we've been talking about this arrest and following this arrest and a bit of the reaction from people as far as, this happened a year before. And you will remember the judge initially denied the jury being able to hear about this arrest, the defense being able to present evidence about this arrest, and then they get the defense comes with a new argument and says, hey, we got new evidence. There were drugs found in a second search, and that matches this, and this makes this, these match up, and now you need to give us a second chance. And the judge says, okay, kind of.
Look, at the end of the day, I think they're reaching, they're searching, they're trying to find something because, look, you think about Mike Brown case where they got, I think, awarded $1.5 million. In this particular case, $27 million. Okay, if you're paying out a court for wrongful death, then you're admitting there was wrongdoing. Yet, you want to try and make some out of 2019, what happened when he got arrested. I think it was like a hypertensive emergency where he wasn't feeling well. But at the end of the day, what does that have to do with Derek Chauvin putting his weight on his neck for 8 minutes and 46 seconds? We all saw it. It's a nightmare we have to overlive over and over again, even his family, more importantly. And at the end of the day, I don't care what they try to bring forward. It cannot stand up to what we saw.
Absolutely.
It cannot.
Yeah. Well, you know, I'm really happy that the judge is staying firm and not moving the trial back anymore. We already are dragging, you know, the juror selection, as you guys have seen, is already delaying the process. Also, we have those other cops that we have. I'm saying we, like I'm in the courtroom, right? But we do have to get them also charged being a part of George Floyd's death as well. But, you know, for me, it's always been interesting, guys, and I don't know how you guys feel about this, being a lawyer having to defend a murderer, you know? So I also feel like, too, the defense for Derek Chauvin's lawyer, I feel like they're trying to scrape around right now, trying to get any extra little anything that they can to make this a fair trial, to try to win this thing. So you have the settlement that just happened. Of course, the timing of that made some people feel like that's leaning in the direction of George Floyd. You have the jurors that are scared for their life. Brooke's been updating us on the jurors. You have people that are afraid to even be a part of this. So that's delaying the process. We also have Chauvin's aggressive past as well. So many other factors are making them not look good. So I feel like his defense, they're just trying to figure out everything, and they're going to need something better than George Floyd's 2019 arrest. They're going to need something better than that. So I feel like they want to try to move it back as much as possible so that they can get any little thing. But at the end of the day, take the L. You know, we saw the footage. Like Romeo said, we saw what happened, and let's just move forward.
But at the same time, we saw what happened in Ferguson, Missouri, with Mike Brown. He was running away from the incident when he was shot in the back. We've seen it happen several times where police officers don't get convicted. So there's still a lot to be worried about, and there's a lot at stake, because when you speak on the jurors, how some people don't want to be a part of this case because if it doesn't turn out on the right side, then they're going to feel like their life is threatened once their name or their face is put out there.
I mean, imagine it. That's a great point, Romeo. That's scary. I wouldn't either, honestly. I would, if I had jury duty, nope. I will not be there, okay? At all.
It's a tough call. I think a lot of people would.
Always, you have to, especially us, as black people, we need to always sit on juries, always. Because think about how often the criminal justice system fails in our favor.
That's true.
Disproportionately.
Yeah.
You do not out there. I know it's annoying and it's frustrating and you've got life and you've got work and you've got kids. Sit on jury duties. If you get called for jury duty, I've got jury duty in May. I'm going to be there.
But Brooke, can I ask you a question? Just if I can ask you a question. With this, I think you're absolutely right. With jury duty, yes, we should go to jury duty, 100%. But in this particular case, like Romeo was saying, if it doesn't go in our favor, just how would you feel sitting on that jury knowing Brooke Thomas, juror number 7, and, you know, just, I don't know, how would you feel sitting on being a juror in this particular case?
Failed you.
As a juror, there's no way it can possibly not go in your favor. Juries have to be unanimous.
Okay.
A verdict, I mean, has to be unanimous. Up until a Supreme Court decision, that didn't count in Oregon and Louisiana. But other than that, verdicts have to be unanimous. And so if he's found, you know, if he's acquitted, you would be one of the jurors who voted to acquit. So it would be in your favor to acquit, because not in your favor, because, but it would be your decision. That would be what you saw the case as it was laid out. Yeah. Right. And people may disagree, because I think I get what you guys are saying. People may disagree, right? But you were one of the ones who voted to acquit. If he gets convicted, you would have to be one of the ones who voted to convict. Do you see what I'm saying? So
there we go.
It's not, you know.
I feel it. That's good. That's fair.
Right. Soulmates, now you know.
I actually started telling you guys a little bit about this next story yesterday. So Representative Jimmy Gomez has formally introduced a resolution to expel Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene from Congress. Marjorie Taylor Greene has been seen as problematic over her past indications of support for violence against prominent Democrats. Representative Gomez stated, "I take no joy in introducing this resolution, but any member who incites political violence and threatens our lives must be expelled." House Democrats, as well as 11 Republicans, voted last month to strip Greene of her seats on the Budget and the Education and Labor committees in response to her past apparent endorsements of political violence, as well as her suggesting that school shootings and the 9/11 terrorist attacks were staged. Oh, gosh. So much happened on Twitter around this story today. Like, I was literally just on Twitter for, I feel like, an hour just about this. So with Marjorie Taylor Greene, we told you a little bit about the story yesterday, of course. So her Twitter account was suspended for 12 hours. So she pretty much caused a big stink about it, trying to figure out why was my account suspended. So Twitter issued a statement pretty much saying it was an accident. So then she comes back on Twitter like, well, Twitter, what happened with my account? So we still have yet to figure out what happened. But Twitter did say it was they said that we used a combination of technology and human review. So pretty much it was, kind of like how it's just like a random, like so many people reported her account that they just like suspended it, So I thought that was interesting because I don't feel like it was on accident. But also, so she came back once she got her account back, right? So she's like, you know what? I support the terrorist attacks. What happened? Blah, blah, blah. And I don't understand why everyone's upset at me. So then she came at Kamala Harris today and and brought up a tweet that Kamala Harris put in 2020 where she was trying to get people to help bring money to Minnesota Freedom Fund to post bail for people who were protesting in Minnesota. So she's like, well, how come Kamala Harris, a senator at the time, can ask for money for BLM protesters, but I can't support the January 6th terrorists? Like, it was just so good, you guys.
Yeah.
Please go look at it. I was fascinated. It was great.
I mean, there's been so much going on. What this comes down to every time I see what people being upset at something she says, you're reminded of the fact that there are a large amount of people who voted for her. Right. And then that bit of that base represents a bit of the Republican base overall. Mm-hmm. And that's why you don't get a strong outpouring of people battling against her, because they're like, no, listen, we have the same base. This comes down to people not wanting to upset their base on one side and people being horrified at upsetting their base on another side.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Like, we got to stand up for the team no matter what, just like the Trumpsters, no matter how he failed us when it came to the pandemic and things of that nature. If you're going to ride with him, you're going to ride with him. But at the end of the day, we know my story we were just talking about. Has she ever been tested? That's what I want to. She ever been tested for drugs or anything? Because some of the things that she says she believes in or don't believe in or she supports, I sit back and be like, how did she get where she is? Like, how did that happen? Like, it's unbelievable. But hopefully we can get her out of the way.
All right, let's move on to this next story. The EPA has relaunched its climate change website as part of the Biden administration's efforts to tackle the climate crisis. In Thursday's announcement, the agency touted the revamped website as part of the Biden administration's commitment to action on climate change and restoring science. Here's part of a statement. For the first time in 4 years, the EPA now has a web page to guide the public to a range of information, including greenhouse gas emissions data, climate change impacts, scientific reports, and existing climate programs within EPA and across the federal government. EPA Administrator Michael Reagan says climate facts are back on the EPA's website where they should be. This also, again, look at what politics did. So the EPA, based on science, lots of science, scientific facts, scientists, our Environmental Protection Agency, and there wasn't a website focused on climate change because the former administration's base didn't believe in it, essentially didn't believe in the science, and also didn't believe in what scientists said needed to be done as far as, fossil fuel regulation, even something as simple as eating meat one day less a week. Do you know what I mean? Like, and so that and the politics in that caused a federal protection agency based on science to not have a website in this area.
You guys,
it's fascinating, right?
Yeah.
You guys, you know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of how do we lose the WHO, right? How do we lose WHO? The WHO organization. Like, it was the same thing. Like, WHO seems like such an important organization to have, but Trump decided to not have ties with them. It made no sense to me. But also Trump, you know, I don't know how you guys feel about this, but I feel like Trump never really, he wavered the fence on how he really felt about climate change. He said it was non-existent. He said it was mythical. He said it was an expensive hoax. But then he also came back and said it's something that's very important. Like, he just always, like, went back and forth on how he felt. But I'm with you, Brooke. Like, how do we not have an EPA website? Like, I don't understand that either. It's crazy.
Climate change, doesn't it affect the weather and things of that nature?
Yeah.
Right. So we saw what happened in Texas, right? Did we not see what happened there?
Right, yeah.
And then a lot of soulmates wonder, well, how is it affecting us now? If you're not up on it, we could talk about damage to your home from the rise of sea levels, from flooding. Home insurance could be going up depending on where you live. Like if you're near where it could be fires, things like that. So it's affecting us right now. So it's important that we get this website back up and running, that we put the money and the information out there and the money into it program so we can build a future, because life is going to go on when we're gone, and we want to make sure that our kids or our grandkids are going to be able to live in this world.
And that they have a world to live in. You're right.
Yes. I love that. Romeo with the facts.
Hey.